Alrighty, we are live at AutoEnter Live, which we are very excited about. Thank you for everyone who's attending right now. This is a very big deal for us. We've got a bunch of people in the room here today. We were really hopeful that a few of us could get together. We know it's a virtual event. So let me do a quick round of introductions. I am Martha Zink with Proofgeist. I've got Bob Bowers back here from Soliant Consulting. I've got Todd Geist with Proofgeist as well. And then I've got Wim Decourt from Soliant Consulting. And I have been so lucky to get to work with all four of these and all three of them. And it's nice to be able to be here again today. So where should we start? What do you think?
Well, so as I was thinking about this, for the past 25 years, every summer, a Claris FileMaker event has been a big part of my summer. It's been something I've looked forward to and enjoyed for all those years. It's been excellent for networking, for getting to know people in the community, for learning, for professional development, and for inspiration. And so that was when we were talking. I was talking with Martha this past spring, and we heard that there wasn't going to be an event this summer. We thought maybe we could do an event, and so that was the genesis of this.
Easy, right? We'll just throw it all together. It'll be just fine.
How
No
hard
big
could it
deal.
be?
Can't be
Right?
that hard.
No problem.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think it was a great conversation. I'm glad we came to this, and I'm glad that the community showed up for this because there's no way the four of us could have done this by ourselves. I mean, even with our respective companies, we needed much more than that. So we've got
Absolutely.
the community jumping in really to help on that.
Yeah. Now we're very excited to have over 1,300 people registered for this event
Woohoo!
from all over the world.
Great job, everybody.
We're also thrilled by the response we got for our call for speakers and for vendors, and even more thrilled that Claris wanted to be involved as well. So thank you in advance to everyone that's contributed their time and their expertise to this event. And thank you all for joining us for what should be a great couple of days.
All right, so we figured we would give you a little bit of the lay of the land so that everyone can be comfortable with the platform and so we can all get the most out of this. So in the Hopin platform, which is what we're on, you're going to see the stages, which is what we're on now. We're on stage A. This is kind of like where are your exits, right? So stage A is what we're on now. Your closest exit might be behind you. Stage E and L are the other ones where we'll have sessions show up. In each stage, well, throughout the whole platform, you're going to see a lot of chat options. We're all FileMaker related, right? So we like context. So remember that there is sometimes you're going to be on the event chat, sometimes you'll be in the booth chat, sometimes you're going to be in the stage chat, all the different ones. So just make sure you look to see who you're talking to, but it does kind of auto navigate you around there. But that's really an important part of this is we understand that it's still virtual and we do wish we were in the same room, but we can chat, we can have Q&A, we can have polls. There's a lot of interaction that can happen. Now, one of the things that we're really excited about is the ability to network, right? So we want people to get a chance to chat with each other. We're going to have some networking breakouts, and in those, we'll do some speed networking. So get to chat for a few minutes with someone new, hopefully, and we'll have some prompts for that. And then let's say that you're on a stage and the conversation's going really well, and you're like, man, I wish we could keep talking about this thing because maybe we're like a chatty bunch. And so you have the ability to set up a breakout room. You can jump on with a few people, say something in the chat, everyone can head on over there, and it's a good chance for up to 20 people to be on screen, so audio, video, and then up to 50 people in the room total. And of course, we've got the lazy river and the lobby bar waiting for you already there.
Almost like a real event.
It's almost a little drier. The vendor expo is awesome. We were just in there. We were all checking it out. Everyone's really put a lot of effort into their booths. There are discounts. There is swag. There's all the stuff. So please go check it out. I know that the vendors are really excited to share what they can and what they have, whether you're looking for services or products or tools, it's all there. And then speaking of swag, do we have swag? Of course we have swag. A quick shout out to Prodigy Promos, a client of ours who is going to actually print the shirts for us. And they're part of our community. Hopefully they're watching, but they are FileMaker users and developers, and we're really excited to use them. So check out on the reception, you'll see the link for our swag. We've got 2 shirts. That do not replace existing value tour shirt, and then the problem solvers solving problems shirt.
We should remind everyone to update their profiles if you haven't done that already. Put a profile picture in there, say who you are and your interests. That'll help for matching people during some of the networking events and just so people can get to know you. So if you haven't done that, please update your profile.
Yeah, and we would like to get everyone together at the end of the day. So kind of close out the day before we leave, before we head out to the lobby bar or the pool or wherever it might be. We'll do a quick little wrap up at the end of the day, and I think we've got some polls lined up, so we'll see what the answers to those look like.
Yeah. And then were you going to mention the capsule thing
Oh, yeah.
too? Or,
Yeah.
okay.
So on the panel where you have your navigation, you should see a section for capsule, and that is a great place to. There are categories, and then there are prompts under that. So pick a prompt, answer the prompt on video, anywhere from 7 to 60 seconds. So there's already some up there, so make sure you check them out.
Cool.
And when people are watching sessions, they can pop back and forth between them. And
Totally.
also the replay feature, you'll be able to replay something that happened earlier in the day.
Yeah,
How
that's
gonna
right.
work?
Yep.
Okay.
And then we will be posting the videos on YouTube after the event as well. So we'll lots of places to get the content if you missed it out on anything. Any other
Tech
quick
support.
stuff? Yes, if
Okay.
you go to the bottom of the expo, if you have any technical problems, if you've got questions about the platform, head on to the bottom. We've got tech support set up, and someone from the AutoEnter committee will go in there and help you out. All right, I think those are the do's and don'ts of the plane here.
Yeah.
So
Again, just make sure you're learn a lot today. Hopefully, you're getting something out of all the sessions, and then please do some networking. Visit the expo. So those are our expectations of you, and we hope you've got a great couple of days ahead of you.
totally. And I do want to say that I know we've got quite the mix of people here. We have lots of people who are seasoned community members. And Todd and I were talking about the nostalgia that comes with thinking about this conference.
Yeah.
And so we know it's a different experience, but we think this can be just as nostalgic. So please chat, spend time with each other. We still get to be together in one way or another. So that's really nice. And then for new members, I remember what it was like to be new. We were all there once. Welcome, be chatty, ask the question. We're all here for you. So among all of us, this is going to be a really great event. Be kind, be present, be respectful. It's going to be a really cool day.
Absolutely.
Couple days.
I was thinking about past events, and I think I met the two of you for the first time at a DevCon
I'm sure,
years and years
yeah.
ago. So I've got recollections of meeting both of you a long time ago at this point, probably 20 years ago or more.
Yeah.
So yeah, these events are a great way to meet people, to deepen friendships, everything like that. So looking forward to this. Thanks.
Totally. All right. I think we've got a special guest.
We do.
Talk about
We're very happy to have a few people from Claris that are going to be joining us for part of this opening session. And we're very excited about the first person that's going to join us here. Should we just put him up there? Hey, looks like it's Brad. All right, we've got Brad Freitag, the CEO of Claris, joining us here for our session.
Thank you, everybody. It's wonderful to connect with the Claris community, joining from all over the world. We're honored to be a part of this event in partnership with Soliant and Proofgeist, and excited for the next 2 days. I'm happy to spend a few minutes today to offer some visibility into our direction. And it starts with the fact that our mission is consistent and has been for 30 years. That mission continues today. We help people solve hard problems using technology. That mission was formed with the original insight of our early founders. It's been consistent in the 9-year personal journey that I've had with this community. And I know it's expected from so many of you to continue into the future. Advancing the platform with Claris Pro and Claris Studio is a signal of our commitment to this decades-long mission. It's true to our values with line of sight into the future. And it's scheduled to be generally available in the fall. Let me also talk about what we're not doing. We are not replacing the platform you know and love. This is an expansion of our platform, not an independent new product. But it is a big step forward in our mission. You'll hear lots more about this in the coming days from Peter, Andrew, and from Clay and Robert. So let me shift to the event. I want to reinforce an important point. Our platform on its own does nothing. But in your hands, those of talented and trained developers with a problem to solve and conviction to get it done, magic happens. And like that combination, This event is a collaboration between Claris and your community, and it should generate a whole that is greater than the sum of its parts. So while we were crushed to cancel Engage this year, we were thrilled by the initiative of these partners and all of you to create a virtual experience. We know the fibers that connect this community are strong. It's a sentiment that all of us share on a personal level, and we're excited to trial this format. Expect more experiments like this, including in-person events on a smaller scale in the near future as the next phase of Claris. So with that, I would like to offer my huge thanks to Soliant and Proofgeist for hosting and organizing. I want to connect with all of you throughout the event. In particular, thanks to Martha, Todd, Wim, and Bob for inviting me to help kick things off. Back to you.
That's awesome. Thanks, Brad.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brad.
Thanks, Brad.
All right, we've got a few other guests from Claris joining us as well.
We just
right?
keep roping them in.
Yeah.
So why don't we bring them on screen?
Very happy to welcome Andy Lacates and Peter Nelson here with us.
Hi guys, how you doing?
Good.
Thrilled to be here. Thanks for having us.
Glad to have you.
All righty. Should we just jump right in? I mean, how are you feeling about this event? You pretty excited? You're going to be around all couple days here?
Yep.
The answer would be yes. I actually took vacation this week, but then this event landed right in the middle of it. So,
This is a vacation, Andrew.
I know. But where else would I be, right? So I'm really looking forward to this. I appreciate you guys putting this together.
That's awesome. Very cool. All right. Well, I think, like I said, we've got some seasoned people here, and some people are familiar with the FileMaker Inc. days. And so one of the things is that things do feel different now. So can we talk about that? What is different? What's changed between the FileMaker Inc. to Claris transition?
That's an interesting one. Pete, you want me to take that first, or you want to jump in?
Go for it.
All right. I was thinking about Bob's comments about having been through 25 or so DevCons and how we've met each other and kind of been on this story arc for decades now with the platform and the community. And I'm privileged to be part of it. I actually learned just a couple days ago, Brad informed me that my 28th anniversary cumulatively with Claris as a company, as an employee, took place on Friday. And if I add in the time that I was consulting with Bob, and before that, where I was a student and learning the platform, I've had 35 years with this platform, right? So it's been quite a long journey. It's kind of nice to celebrate that this week with y'all. So what's different? I think there's a difference, I believe, in our leadership, our intention, and our optimism for the future. Having been here along the journey, there's been many stages with the platform, many learnings we've had with the platform, and there's always been something new to learn. But right now, I am super bullish on Peter and his team, and Brad and his leadership, and I hope that there's a sense of the connectedness, the presence that we want to have with the community, not just in being here with this event, but being present in many of the ways that we communicate. So I'm really, really excited right now in a way that I haven't felt in a long time. So that's different for me.
That's great.
For me, it's about pace. I've always believed in FileMaker. I've always believed in the platform. I've always believed even more, though, in the mission and the space and what should be possible here. And so for me, what's different at Claris this time around, and this is my second time here, is I feel like we're off our leash. And we've got a goal now to grow quickly, but what that means is providing capabilities quickly out into the low-code space. And I don't know, there's nothing more exciting than seeing potential, believing in potential, and having the tools and capacity to go deliver against it then.
Very cool. Now, you talk about delivering quickly. So a lot of the terminology that you've been using is around agile development, right? That's something that Proofgeist does, something that Soliant Consulting does. So what does that look like for Claris? What does that mean? I know we hear the words, but what does it mean?
It means a bunch of different things internally. First and foremost, though, especially for a conversation like this, it means we've got to be listening, because rather than delivering product every 18 months, then being able to slowly talk to you about what you liked about it, what didn't, and get bug reports in, our goal is to get to a place where we are delivering every month or so. and then doing slight pivots every month or so. In order to make that an effective, viable strategy for us, we've got to be talking to our community, to our developers, to our partners constantly about what they need, about what they're facing in the market, about how our products are serving them, and about where our products are falling down for them. And hopefully you've seen a significant ramp up in that area. You will absolutely see even more in the next 6 months. And you'll see a delivery cadence. You're seeing the 19 series with the 19.5.2 just coming out on the heels of 19.5.1 just a few weeks prior. You're seeing a delivery cadence that's much, much faster than anything you've seen from us before, and that will continue.
Can you talk for a few minutes about the distinction that you've got these days between thinking about products and thinking about a platform? I know that that's been another big part of your messaging lately. So what do those mean to you, and where do we go from here?
You want to go, Andrew, or you want me to?
I will. I think, Bob, I'll put it in the context of the rebrand for the company that started a couple of years ago, where I think we knew, with the advent of Claris Connect, that we were going to expand our portfolio of products to produce a platform of tools to give a complete set for the problem solvers in our community. And I think it's important that we leverage the foundation that we've got with the FileMaker platform and 30 years of development on that to be really the strongest low-code platform for delivering apps, in an on-prem founded manner, right? But we haven't yet taken full advantage of the cloud scale, the economies of cloud scale, the performance that we can get out of some of the systems that we build there that Pete can talk to. And so being able to build a platform of tools that offer us all of those things in a way that complement each other and give us the best solutions to address the modern FileMaker revolution, to borrow from our friends at Proofgeist. I think we've got to think differently about how we deliver on the promise and the tech that we make, right? So, Pete, do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, from a purely engineering specific lens, it's a lot easier to build certain bits of functionality on certain stacks. And so if you only have one bit of code that you are delivering to your customers, you have to deliver everything that you want on that stack. If instead you've got some web deployed pieces and some on-prem deployed pieces and some pieces that run client side and some pieces that run server side and some pieces that are web deployed and they've got analogs in a native client, when you want to solve a problem, you get to ask yourself, where's the best place to solve this? As long as you can provide a platform, a whole amalgam of these products to all of your customers so they can all use them seamlessly.
Yeah, I think this falls.
That's the step we're moving towards right now, is trying to make sure that's the case, that all of our customers can use all of our products with each other. And that gives us the freedom then to go build the right solution in the right place.
Yeah, we really love that. I mean, when we talk about the modern FileMaker revolution, it's bigger than just this, but now it's just this puzzle piece is doing what the rest of the world is already doing, right? We've got these different technologies we need, and the Claris platform is going to provide a whole slew of these tools for us all in one place. I like the separation of focus and being able to have multiple pieces of one platform together that are going to work together really well.
And they have to work well together. Connect is a powerful, powerful set of technologies, but it doesn't do much of value for any of our developers if it doesn't integrate really, really well with the solutions that you're building in Pro today. And that's some of the bridge work that we're working, to smooth out right now. Once we get to a place where you really feel like you're sitting on top of a platform, nobody's going to care where new technology pops up within that platform. You'll have access to it.
So what is we know where we're at now. So what does the near future look like? So how do we sort of start to make this pivot, especially those of us that have been developing mostly in FileMaker for many years? So how do you see some of the transition working out? Where do we start? Is it a mental thing? Is it a technical thing? What are the steps in that?
I'll say that I think there is a mental thing there, Bob. Pete and I were actually having a conversation about this in a meeting just last week, that with the Claris Studio technologies, we're walking before we run, right? We have to start somewhere and build upon that suite of tech and build it out. And so, right now with the developer preview that's been available to Problem Solvers Circle customers, there's a fairly limited number of things that you can do with it. But the mental shift is going to be to imagining what the potential of that tool set will become, right? We can look at it right now and it's just simple quick forms design that will allow me to get data, and cohesively, put that into play with our FileMaker apps. But over time, as that tool set starts building out, we're going to be focusing on specifically the features that we build with some different lenses that we have. We want it to be complementary for our FileMaker developers, not supplementary, right? We're not trying to replace things that we already are good at, right? We want to do new things that maybe FileMaker isn't great at. We want to offer new tech that, is focused potentially on even solution spaces that FileMaker isn't the best at, right? So it could look like we're building a specific solution, if you will, with it, but we're not. We're building towards a future where that thing has enormous potential. And the mental shift is going to be imagining where that is going and thus getting the feedback from you all as to what potential you see, right? And we should maybe be targeting. So I think there is a bit of that thinking we need to shift on. But Pete can maybe talk more to the tech shift.
Well, I give two different answers. One is dream a little bit. For those of you who played with and are playing with the Problem Solver Circle that was available in May, the developer preview of that, to Andrew's point, you had one set of capabilities that it provided to you. During today's talk, you're going to get a demo of the state of that product today, 2 months later. It's vastly different. It's vastly more capable 2 months later. And so my point in saying that isn't to pat engineering here on the back. It's to say the platform here is going to be able to evolve rapidly in ways that I think none of us are used to. And you can help steer it. So my second point is make sure you're talking to Claris. When we're reaching out to you, and we will be, reach back. Communicate with us, close that feedback loop, help us understand how the changes that we make month after month are helping you, impacting you, and what we can do better for you. We will listen. And then remember the scale of the changes that have happened over the last 2 months when you see these demos, and realize that if you want to help drive the scale of changes in the subsequent 2 months, you can.
Yeah, feedback is such an important part of the agile process, right? It doesn't work without feedback. And so it's really,
feedback, it's not agile.
yeah, exactly. And it's really nice to hear that you're looking for the feedback, that you want it from the community, and that we've got lots of venues to give that to you. So tell me a little bit about the Problem Solver Circle, though. Andy, I know that you were, when we talked back on the Context podcast, you brought that up, and it was a big focus, and you were looking for customers for that. Can you give us just an update of how that went or how it's going?
Yeah, so a quick reminder for folks that weren't aware of it or hearing us last quarter, we initiated this program called the Problem Solver Circle. And the basic premise was that we know that our developers as problem solvers are essential, just critical for the future of many companies right now that are struggling through pandemic or post-pandemic issues and inflation and potential recession and other things. And that companies and the business entrepreneurs that drive them need technology aligned to the ideas and the sort of unique differentiation that they want to drive to succeed and thrive through all of this stuff. And so Problem Solver Circle is basically making the commit that the FileMaker Claris developer has the toolkit, the power, the vision, the understanding of business to really do that innovation. But many of our customers at the same time use our platform in very focused ways. And they may have a company with, say, 100 employees, but use our platform in one department in a fairly small footprint. And the question then is, why aren't they innovating more? So the basic premise was, if we could take away the sort of licensing impediment from expanding and trying out the platform to innovate elsewhere, that customers might enjoy doing that and thus set up for future success. So the idea was we would, for a very small lift in overall cost, give someone a site license, a company a site license for 2 years with which their developers could then just go to town and innovate everywhere. That was a sort of an agile experiment from a marketing standpoint, right? In how we go to market with the platform. And it was a really interesting success and a big success. Like we limited it to 500 customers and had just a few weeks window. I guess it was about 2 months for customers to get in. We got an enormous number of learnings from the program. We didn't get to 500, but we did get well beyond our projections for customer interest and ultimately, commit that turned into kind of revenue for us. So what we learned there is that customers did want it, particularly in spaces where they had more room to invest in technology and buy into the site license concept to cut their developers loose to go do more innovation. We did learn that we ran out of time. Like we had a lot of customers that were interested in the program, but just couldn't quite get it done in time. Committing to that kind of license in larger organizations in particular takes approvals. It takes time. And many of our partners face that same situation. And then we also learned there was definitely a class of customer that was very interested in the whole platform component of it, that it was FileMaker with Connect with the developer preview of Studio, and wanted all that, but wasn't ready to commit to a full site license. So we got a lot of great learnings out of that, and we're going to come back and reintroduce the program very, very soon. So I can make a sneak announcement if you'd like me to.
Yeah.
The learnings were fantastic.
Just did.
All right, well, let me put some color on that then. We're going to bring PSC back. We're going to bring the problem solver circle back. Again, one of the big limitations was just lack of time for customers to get it done. Our partners should be alerted to this very, very soon, and we'll make a broad announcement within the next week or two, and we'll get the ball rolling. We think there's definitely space for more customers to get in. We are going to change it up. For those that did get in the first place, please don't feel offended that we're bringing it back and you rush to get it done or anything like that. You're actually going to get a better price point overall than folks that are getting in. The price will go up a little bit based on the learnings, again, that we got in terms of who was committing and what they wanted from it, but with more flexibility. We were a 2-year program before. We're likely to do a 1, 2, or 3-year option for customers so that they'll have a little more flexibility in how they buy in. And then secondarily, for the customers that wanted to get in but couldn't really commit or afford a full site license for the platform, we're going to come out with a variant, a Claris platform license that will allow one to get into FileMaker with Connect with Studio, but without the site license commit. Again, in a 1, 2, or 3-year program, and we'll have more information to share about that soon. So we're excited to have those 2 programs back, and again, to build this community of customers that has by design, a focus on doing more with this platform, innovating across their organization, and building the ops apps, right? The operational apps that run their business, and much, much more. So we're very excited about it. It's been a great success, and thanks for giving me a chance to pre-announce, as it were.
Awesome.
Well, thanks for sharing that with us. That's good to hear. In that back to that sort of platform product thing. So besides that mental shift and the technology shift, it seems like there's also been a little bit of a branding or sort of packaging shift on your end as well. Is that something that you can talk about for a minute?
Yeah, for sure. You okay if I jump on that one, Pete, or do you have some comments there first?
Yeah. Let me tee off just one quick point, and then it'll feed into where you're going, Andrew. If we go back to where this conversation started today about what's different at Claris, part of what's different is that when we talk about wanting to grow the company, in almost every case, we're talking about wanting to add to the pool of developers on the planet leveraging the Claris platform. We want to create more Claris developers. And yeah, we want to monetize them, but the focus is first on creating them. And I think that is a bit of a different shift, certainly from 10 years ago, where we wanted to monetize every single feature that we could. The goal here is to get people to success building on the platform, to remove barriers to entry, to remove barriers to people being successful building their solution, to remove barriers to people deploying their solutions, either because of our platform or barriers that external IT departments impose. We are working really, really hard to make sure that as new and existing developers try to use our tools, they get to success. And that includes our licensing plans and how we're trying to think about licensing. So we want our licensing to be something that encourages you to build more solutions, either as a partner or within your company, etc. And that's a lot of what's driving the Problem Solver Circle and what's driving then the iterations of Problem Solver Circle that are coming that Andrew's talking about.
Yeah, on behalf of all marketing departments, we appreciate the less barrier to entry, the better. We really appreciate it. Andy knows what this is like. A lot of others don't understand. So I think that sounds fantastic. And it's, we've felt that sometimes, and it's nice to hear that that's a priority. I can feel the shift, and I think it's going in the right direction.
And it
Great.
feeds then into branding for the company and trying to, it may seem complicated through some lenses right now, but trying to get to a place where it is much simpler and you are just building on top of Claris.
Yep. And to that point, yeah, there's been some confusion over the brand shift, but we want to do it in a way that isn't harmful to our customer deployments or puts, massive roadblocks in the way of their moving forward. When you adopt the Claris platform with Claris Studio, we know that we believe that is the most attractive path into the future with the overall platform, giving the whole tool set to our developers to innovate everywhere. But we know that in many cases, it's going to take some time, and the existing solutions that you have, you'll need to be on FileMaker for a while. So we'll have the FileMaker brand in play with FileMaker 19 as long as it takes, so that customers can rely on that and have that safety net, and then look to the future with the Claris platform as needed. But ultimately, the rebranding that's happening with the platform is really a simplification. It's a flattening of the brand architecture that we have. Today we have a fairly deep brand architecture with Claris and a FileMaker platform under it. In that is FileMaker Pro and Go and Server and Cloud, and sort of as a subset of that is FileMaker WebDirect and other things. And under Claris, it's just going to be simple and flat. Claris Platform, Claris Pro, Claris Studio, Claris Go, Claris, all the Claris things in your tech portfolio, and you choose the tools that you need when you need to use them. So it's very sort of one-dimensional, flat, simple, and we think in the long run, it's going to make a lot of sense, and it'll become clearer. That the FileMaker platform is here, again, is for the health of our customers and our existing installations and the developers that have been with us on this journey for many, many decades. So we just want to do it right and get ourselves there. So we are in a transition phase, but it will get clearer. So hope that answers your question, Bob.
It does, and it's an exciting transition. So I think this next year is going to be a very interesting one for the Claris platform, for Claris the company, and it does help me to sort of think about the different areas that we'll have to think about this. So there is that, just getting our heads around this, that mental shift. There's going to be the technology stuff, like what do I have to hook up where, and how does that all work? Sounds like then just some nomenclature and some branding differences, and those are always hard to get used to. And then potentially some licensing changes here too, just how we interact with licensing for platform versus product.
Well, and I think what I'm hearing is, in our industry, we're often asking our clients to embrace change, right? And I think you're asking us to embrace change as well. So this feels right. I mean, I get it. Change is hard, and then sometimes convincing our own users and our customers to change is difficult. But I think that, when we're all in the same trajectory and you're asking for feedback, that feels like the right direction. So, you're being our trusted advisors, just like we're being that for our customers.
For sure. And I think, playing with the platform and using it will be very, very telling as well, right? It's one thing to hear that we've got a product called Claris Pro that used to be called FileMaker Pro, and what are the differences? What's the same, right? It's going to be largely the exact same experience, and once you're in it, we're going to know how to use it, and we're going to know how it connects to Studio, and it will all come together. So I know some of this is just getting our fingers on keyboard and learning really what's there, but it'll become more clear as we do.
So to Bob's point too, about having to figure out, how to stitch the pieces of the platform together, he's absolutely right. And that's a lot of where engineering's spending its time right now. We've got 4 North Stars written on my whiteboard here that have been there for 6 months. And the first of which is the thing I just talked about in terms of getting developers to success without speed bumps. But number 2 and number 3 are one identity everywhere, so that you're the same person when you fire up Claris Pro as you are when you connect to Studio, as you are when you connect to Connect. And then the third one is all your data everywhere. And so when you've got a solution built in Claris Pro, all of that data is just available to your instance in Studio. You don't have to do anything to build that connection. It's just there. And similarly, you create a new Claris Pro solution. All the data that you stored in Studio is just, those tables are in your file in Pro, right there, populated. You don't have to do anything to set that up. You can do some things to manipulate if you want to, but by default, the data is just there. And then our fourth one is honor existing developers and make sure that their solutions keep working and growing. But we're working very hard to make this platform a set of tools that deliver on the promise that, trust us to put functionality in the most efficient place for us to build it, for you to use it, because we're working really hard to make the tools all work seamlessly together. And it won't be perfect day one when this first rolls out. It will not be. These Pro, Server, Connect have been silos for a very long time. And it's going to take some work to spiderweb it all together, but it's good work.
Yeah, you're trusting us to give you feedback. We're trusting you to take us in the right direction. So there's a little bit of both.
And there'll be some pivots along the way.
It's good. It's good to hear that directly. So it sets expectations on both sides.
Yep.
All right. So when we talk about agile, we don't talk too much about the far future, because that pivots, right? That's the whole premise around this is we are going to move with the times. We're going to keep up and make things modern. But what do we have in the near future? Because we've got some visibility, right? We've got some clarity in the close future. So what do we got lined up here? 19.5 was a big part, right? I mean, that clearly is an important piece.
19.5 was a great release from my perspective. I hope you all feel the same way. Soon, and Andrew can cut me off here, jump in anytime he wants to on what we're pre-announcing or not pre-announcing. And so I'm going to try to really skate a fine line here. Soon we will be rolling out another version of Studio integrated with the rest of the platform. And you'll see a completely different interface for developers as opposed to users of the platform, which is something Claris has traditionally not offered, and I think is going to be very, very, very well received. You'll see much more complex form creation. You'll see the beginnings of a security model. You'll see the ability to work with the beginnings of dashboarding, the beginnings of Kanban views. You'll see bidirectional data flow between Studio and Pro. You'll see some really powerful capabilities that make Studio a really, really valuable add-on to your FileMaker development experience right now, and make it possible to build some things that you can build in FileMaker with WebDirect on your own. You can. But we've got demo videos of things that used to take an hour to build in FileMaker that we can stitch together in a minute now, literally a minute. And that's where the future heads for us. And so exactly what we add to the platform a year from now, yeah, we may not know that, but we know what our values and vision are for how we want the platform to grow. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I think we have some, I was kind of alluding to this earlier, but the way we look at Studio, we want it to offer value in ways that are complementary to what we have in the FileMaker platform. And so at its first iteration that, in the Agile sort of model or analogy, the skateboard, right, is just forms data entry to capture information that goes to an audience at scale across the web to anonymous, participants. And it's an area that's not as easy to do with FileMaker, given the licensing and WebDirects and its performance. And so we thought, let's start there, right? But then from that comes a natural extension that goes to bidirectional data flow. And then where do you go next, right? We make that a little bit more robust. Well, if we can push data back out and start doing reporting, then there's some potential to have, reports anywhere, just the same way we're doing data capture anywhere. And at the point that we're starting then to synthesize that data outside of what has historically been our ecosystem, then you can start thinking about, how does this augment the complex, very robust operational apps that we've been building with FileMaker. Bob, I remember back in the day when you and I were working up in Minnesota together, right? We would build these very complex app systems. And the next thing that the CEO of that company wanted was reporting on it, right? Like, help me get smart now that I have the ability to capture all this data in real time so that I can make the decisions to steer the ship and then align my employees to it. And there are ways that we can focus on kind of those objectives with our audience of customers and give our developers sort of better tuned tools for those things. So I think we go from forms to more robust reporting to then who knows what, maybe after that, it's a new class of apps like Pete was talking for managing projects, right? With Kanban views and more. So I'm excited to see the journey that we're beginning now.
That's excellent. We should probably mention a couple of the sessions that are going to come up that are going to address a few of these things too, right?
Yeah, so we're lucky to have a couple of tech talks. Todd and Wim are going to have some chats with some other Claris folks. So we've got one today on transactions, and then tomorrow we'll get Claris Studio covered and the future of the platform, I think, collectively. So those will be really fun. So yeah, make sure you check the schedule out for those. They're going to be great live chats.
I'm really excited to hear you guys speak too, because I think the notion, the way that you think about synthesizing the tools that we've got in Connect, in FileMaker, and in Studio, I think is just fantastic. Not to say that you've got everything right, but that you are thinking about it deeply, and we can listen and we can take the feedback that we're hearing from you all as you present it. So thank you guys for doing it. Really appreciate it.
If you want opinions, we've got it. That's for sure. There's no shortage of that around here.
Counting on it.
Very cool. What do we think? Anything else that we should chat about here?
No, I think we should probably thank Andrew and Peter for their time, and really appreciate you guys joining us today.
Yeah, this means a lot to us, and I know it was it felt like a long planning time for us, but it really was pretty fast. I mean, agile in itself, I think. So thank you for participating. Thank you for willing to chat about this. It means a lot to us and the community as a whole, so thanks.
Well, thank you for having us here, and I believe that we have a booth. That Claris has a booth as well, so we'll try to be present there as well, and look forward to seeing folks there. Thank you.
Thanks so much for having us.
Thank you, guys.
Yep. All right.
Thank you much.
What we want to do now is we haven't heard yet from Wim and Todd this morning, so I think we'd like to turn things over to them for a little bit to sort of talk about your impressions about the discussion we've just had, what thoughts have been going through your head, how this resonates with you two. So why don't you guys just give us your opinions on the conversation so far?
Absolutely, and I think we can start with making a tie-in to the session that we'll do, the live coding session that we'll do tomorrow morning, where we'll do exactly some of the things that Peter and Andrew were talking about. Basically, to the extent that as a developer, if you can reach on your tool belt for any of the tools in the portfolio without any restrictions or any limitations, it's amazing what you can do and how quickly you can do it. How robust and complex you can make a solution very, very quickly.
Hey, I just want to make sure that's clear. So tomorrow morning's opening session is going to be you two actually doing some live coding, doing a whole bunch of the stuff that we've just been hearing about. So, so what a treat to be able to watch Wim and Todd actually sit at a keyboard.
We missed out on a key naming. Like we could have gone with 2 pillars, 1 computer, right? Like here we get them, or do we battle them? I don't know. All
right, so that's
we're gonna fight. We're gonna fight over the keyboard.
Absolutely,
yeah. So you won't want to miss that.
Yeah, that'll be really, really fun to watch you all.
Yeah, I think. I always enjoy live coding. That's always an interesting challenge to do that in front of people.
Isn't that your DEF CON MO?
I don't know. It's just sort of fun. I don't know. There's something about the jeopardy involved that kind of focuses your attention, but it's also, when you're solving problems, it is useful to kind of stay focused on the problem that you actually have to solve and not get down into the weeds of solving a problem you might have, 6 months or next year. You want to solve exactly the problem that you have. And so live coding is kind of that, right? You're like, you have to get through this 10-minute thing and this 30-minute thing, and what happens tomorrow is irrelevant. So it's a good focusing tool. And I think what we're going to try to do tomorrow is look at what we can do with the platform today. And I think we're going to have Robert on that session too as well. Yeah. So Robert's going to be hanging with us and maybe giving some additional color commentary on what's coming, how things might change in the future. But what we thought it would be good to do is just give you a sense of what you can do today with the platform and begin to imagine it as a unified platform, because that is what it's going to be. And so that's what we're going to do tomorrow.
Yep.
Yeah.
And something that you and I have talked about a lot is we talked about this yesterday briefly, and it's almost like a contrasting statement that I heard is implied by what Peter and Andrew were saying, that by doing less in FileMaker, you can actually do more, right? We don't need to build everything in FileMaker like we used to where we come from, all right? We don't need to resolve all the problems, because FileMaker, as it exists now and have existed in the past, is the only tool at our disposal. By not doing the things in FileMaker, we can actually make things better, faster, more scalable, more highly available, all of these things, right? So it's that shift in mentality from not thinking solely like, how do I build this in FileMaker? Just keep the core of what the business really wants in FileMaker, and then reach out to the solutions that already exist.
Right. I think I started talking about this a couple of years ago. I think I gave a DevCon presentation in 16 or 17 that was called Custom Application Network or something like that. And it was trying to get at this idea or this problem that I think all businesses have, which is that they're living in an environment where they have lots of apps. And I think my original approach to that environment, 10 years ago when that started to happen with SaaS apps and things was just have to make FileMaker do all of those things. And that quickly, that just becomes unsustainable. And these apps that are out there are pretty good and they're getting better all the time. And so what you really want to do is work with those apps. And that is the problem that many businesses have. They have a lot of applications already, but they don't have anything that's custom to them, right? And so how do you approach that problem, which I think is the primary problem of all businesses today? How do you approach solving that problem with the Claris platform? And actually, FileMaker, even as it is today, is pretty good at that. And we'll have there's some sessions on that and there's other materials on that. But I think that if you can shift your mindset to that, which is that there are lots of apps, some of which you're going to build in FileMaker, some you're going to build in Claris Studio, some you build with Connect, some you'll just integrate with. But if you start with that mindset, you can extend the investments you've made and the tools you've already built as well.
Agreed. I think the community plays or will continue to play a huge role in that, because as the mind shift of the FileMaker developer shifts and potentially needs to shift, it's not an option, but it's the direction that this is going is great. So there's going to be a lot of incentive. But as Claris is working on the product to make it more intuitive and more easy to set up these integrations, there is going to be a responsibility in the community to help get those developers on board. We talked about yesterday about the queues and PubSub and these kinds of things, and we're all working with that. Not everybody is though, right? Like it's on us to make sure that, and that's not really a concept of the platform, but it's an important concept in the architecture of the solutions that we're building. So helping all of the FileMaker developers and all the new Claris developers onboarded on that and get them trained up and all of that. The community is huge for that.
Yeah, I think. I mean, we did hear Brad talk about how important the community is, and he's been saying that for years, and it's been great. And I think sometimes we make a distinction on the technical platform versus the community, and they've always kind of been blended to me. Like, to me, a platform includes the community. You can't really have a platform unless you have community members building on top of it and sharing and building modules. And there's a whole ecosystem that lives on a platform. A platform without an ecosystem is not a platform. And so that's important. And because it doesn't actually matter how good the tool is, one person or even one team can't solve all the problems, at least not as well as a community or as fast as a community can solve the problems, right? You have all these minds working on all these different problems. These things get solved. So to me, a platform involves a community, and we're happy to have one, and it's a great one here. And making the shift is going to be, I was going to say challenge, but I don't. It's an opportunity. I think this is a fun time to be here, right? Where we get to kind of put on our newbie hats and reapproach what we've been doing and how we've been solving problems over the years, and see how to recontextualize them within this problem of everybody's got all these apps and they need custom apps too. And so how do you do that? And so the studio story, or the platform story, where we have the FileMaker, we have Studio, we have Connect, we have all these additional tools. What that means is that we can, within the Claris platform, you can reach further and further out into those needs that are out there, that different use cases that companies need to solve. And so that's really exciting about this new direction, is it's going to give us more tools in the toolbox, more ways in which we can use this whole platform, including the community, to solve these problems.
Agreed. And I couldn't agree with you more about the excitement of that. Like there's a bit of a challenge in there, but it's not a huge one. I think it's a very rewarding path to go down to and learn and relearn some skills. Some of these skills are enormous, like the whole AI ML thing that used to be something that we can only dream of is now becoming within our grasp with the platform as it is already.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and it's I think what is sort of amazing, actually not even sort of, it is amazing to me, is that once I recontextualized that problem around that there's this network of applications, and then I looked at the tool, what we have, FileMaker today, even as something I could use to build for that, I realized it fit pretty well. Like, it's really mostly about a mindset shift as opposed to a technology shift in order to start to take advantage of this new stuff. And then these new additions we're getting with all these new directions with Studio, et cetera, are going to just make that easier and easier to get farther and farther. So I'm excited, and I mean, frankly, this is the biggest change we've ever seen in FileMaker ever.
It is a revolution.
Yeah, it's a revolution, and everybody wants to be a revolutionary, right? So I mean, that's fun, right? Right?
Yeah, why not? Let's do
So
it.
come on, all you people
That's where
out
you
there,
flip the
all you
desk.
revolutionaries out there, jump on this bandwagon. There is something here. It's real. It's significant, and having a partner like Claris who understands that the way to move forward is iteratively in small steps, taking feedback and adjusting, and how important that is just essential.
I agree, and some of that is the ability to look past the initial frustration, right? Because it really is about the trust and the fact that it is going to iterate very quickly and that things will be added. Even though sometimes, like with the skateboard, you look at the skateboard like I didn't want a skateboard, I wanted the car, right? Like, but you'll get there.
Where's
eventually.
my SUV, right?
And in the meantime, I like what Peter said about the dreaming part, right? Like, just looking at this and knowing what it means, what's underneath it. And the things that you already get, he hinted at that. Like, even with Studio as it is now, there are things you inherit,
Yeah.
like scalability.
Yeah, that's
Like-
right.
Like 1,000
Yeah.
people can be submitting things at the same time. Good luck trying to do that with WebDirect.
Yeah.
Right? It's and yes, it doesn't do all the things that we want it to do, but it does already great things.
That's right. Yeah, there's this. One of the things I try to talk about in our teams a lot is to really question when you use the word done, right? Because things aren't done.
Yep.
Right. Whatever gets rolled out in the next iterations of Studio or any of these tools, it's not done. It's just the next step. And that's how we try to ship. We try to, our basic rule is don't make something worse. Ship often as you possibly can. Don't make it worse. Sometimes, and the reason we have that low barrier, don't make it worse, is just because sometimes you can't release a new feature, but you can't take you don't want to roll backwards. So you just, as long as you keep iterating, moving forward, making progress over time, that adds up. And it also does end up being in the best direction because you're able to adjust as you move along to find out what the best solutions are.
Perfect. Well, listen, we have some good commentary. This is great. We're not in implementation details, right? That's what all the sessions are for.
Yes, that's right.
We got really good content
Yes.
coming up. So what do we have here? Should we have some polls or something?
Yeah, I think we've got a few little things to wrap up, and we've got some sessions starting in
Yeah.
5 or 6 minutes.
You,
Here.
you got to hurry because I have to run over to the presentation room and give my talk at 9.
Todd's been stretching over here. if you
So
can see him.
I'm gonna sprint over there and be ready.
All right. So we want to make sure that everyone knows that there will be polls going live here in just a minute. And what are we hoping for? Just that people jump on in and be honest, right? We want to know reality.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just sometime throughout the day, answer these poll questions. And then if you come back at the end of the day for our closing session, we'll show you the results from the polls.
Yeah, we'll check them out and see.
Sounds good.
All right. Well, enjoy the day. We look forward to seeing you at the end of the day and seeing all the chat, all the conversation that's about to happen. Make sure you jump on Capsule. And I think that's it for now.
Thanks, everybody.
Have
All
fun,
right.
learn a lot.
Thanks,
Enjoy.
everyone.
Bye-bye. Have fun, revolutionaries.